In 12 August 1943, 03:15 a.m., unnamed Allied submarine command. Fog hovers in the cold Pacific dawn. An anxious silence fills the cramped torpedo room. A crewman locks the torpedo turret, his hands trembling. He glances at the depth readout, set to 10 feet. He knows it's too deep. The giant steel cylinder rises into the moonlit water and vanishes. Moments later, a muffled clang echoes inside the hull. The target ship remains untouched. He exhales half relief, half horror. The war is meant to be righteous, but tonight, the weapons betray them. In that moment, an underestimated flaw, one almost invisible, will prove catastrophic. It begins as a technical fault. It becomes a scandal that haunts the victory story of World War II. The shadows behind the curtains. We know the broad strokes of World War II. Hitler's Blitzkrieg, Pearl Harbor, D-Day, victory. But beneath the familiar narrative lie the cracks. Hidden programs, bungled weapons, alliances forged with criminals. These are the stories that rarely make the classroom. In this documentary-style journey, we will unveil 3 major scandals that challenge the tidy hero versus villain storyline. The torpedo debacle of the U.S. submarine fleet, the mass executions at Katyn massacre, and the post-war option of former Nazis by the United States in Operation Paperclip. Each begins in negligence or desperation, escalates into betrayal or cover-up, and ends up shaping the post-war world. Our torpedoes don't sink ships. By late 1941, the U.S. Navy submarine force was deploying the standard-issue Mark 14 torpedo. It was long-range, high-speed, designed to destroy enemy shipping. But from the first patrols, something was very wrong. Reports came in, torpedoes ran 10 feet deeper than set. Those that struck hulls failed to explode. Others detonated prematurely beneath the ship's keel, or worse, ran in wide circles and threatened their own submarines. Yet when submarine captains raised alarms, the Bureau of Ordnance was dismissive. Your men are incompetent. The Navy leadership insisted the weapon was fine. In wartime urgency, testing was inadequate. These very torpedoes cost lives and wasted opportunity. The tension grows. The weapon meant to safeguard sailors becomes their enemy's advantage. Chaos instead of order, desperation instead of confidence. Personal toll, human lives. Picture a young lieutenant on his 3rd patrol. He lines up a target ship, a cargo vessel vital to Japan's supply line. He presses the button. Expectation, impact, silence. A near miss. The ship speeds away. He watches, helpless. The war drags on. Yet above deck, in headquarters, routines continue. Memo after memo. Results below expectation. Crew blamed. Tests inconclusive. Meanwhile, men in convex dark hulls die because of an oversight. A submarine force forced to learn its craft while its tools betray it. It's not just a hardware failure, it's a betrayal of trust. And in the obscured urgency of global war, it slides under the radar. Revelation, corruption of silence. In June 1943, under pressure and staggering losses, Admiral Charles A. Lockwood ordered the magnetic exploder on the Mark 14 disabled. Finally, tests confirmed what had been suspected all along. The device was defective. Within months, the contact detonator flaws were also identified and corrected. Only then did the submarine campaign begin its full effect. But the cost? A year of wasted lives, squandered opportunity, was already paid. The scandal lies not just in the malfunction, but in the institutional failure. When men died and ships escaped, the system refused to listen. The human cost is hidden beneath advancements and victory parades. A forest of bones. The Katyn cover-up. Switch continents. April 1940. In the forest near Smolensk, Soviet special police units of the NKVD execute over 20,000 Polish officers, intellectuals, and citizens taken prisoner after the Soviet invasion of eastern Poland. In April 1943, the graves at Cotton Forest are discovered by German forces. They broadcast it. The Allies listen. The Soviet Union denies responsibility, blames the Germans. The cover-up begins. In wartime logic, the Soviet Union is an ally. Admission would fracture the grand narrative of unity against fascism. So the lie persists for decades. The decision to kill was driven by class, nationality, elimination of the elite, the Polish intelligentsia. Again, we see chaos disguised as discipline, betrayal disguised as necessity, order built on atrocity, impact and emotion. For the families of the victims, 20,000 plus never returned. For Poland, the event became a wound in national memory, reopened with the fall of the Soviet Union. In the larger war story, Cotton is a footnote, but this is a scandal of allies, mass murder, and cover-up. It raises the stakes. Not every good guy is good. Some truths remain inconvenient. The moral bargain, Operation Paperclip. As the war wound down, the victors turned their attention to tomorrow. The corporate and military race for rocket propulsion, for atomic research, for intellectual dominance started even while the guns were still roaring. Enter Operation Paperclip. Between 1945 and 59, over 1,600 German scientists, engineers, technicians, some of whom were Nazi Party members, Waffen-SS affiliates, were brought to the United States to work on rockets, chemical and biological weapons, and the space race. President Harry Truman had officially forbidden recruitment of Nazi Party members, but in practice, intelligence agencies whitewashed files, omitted incriminating evidence, and prioritized national advantage over accountability. Here, the scandal is overt. The war ends, and the hunted scientist becomes a lab assistant for the victors. The enemy becomes collaborator. Morality becomes optional. The turning point and lasting impact. Each of these scandals carries a turning point. For the submarine force, it was the moment the torpedoes were finally fixed and the Pacific campaign shifted into full gear. For Cotton, the moment the truth surfaced in 1990 and the world recognized Soviet responsibility. For Paperclip, the moment the space race began and the engineers once tasked with death became architects of Apollo. These turning points raise a question. What is the cost of victory when the foundations are flawed? Interweaving personal stories and context. These stories are not abstract. They intertwine with human lives. Submarine crews who fired useless torpedoes. Polish families who buried the missing for decades. Scientists who exchanged uniforms and allegiances. They also sit within larger geopolitical flows, industrial military complexes, alliances driven by strategy, not morality, rapid technological innovation masking human rights violations. At every moment, the viewer is drawn from the depth sound of a submarine to the whistle of a mass grave excavation, from the quiet clink of a scientist's pocket watch in Texas to the hushed briefing in Washington. The final revelation. What links these stories and many others hidden from standard textbooks is this. In war and its aftermath, the underestimated becomes extraordinary. Her torpedo system, thought to be reliable, wasn't, and that hidden flaw affected the outcome of submarine warfare. A massacre of officers, quietly buried under wartime politics, remained hidden for half a century. Nazi scientists, once consigned to defeat, were quietly absorbed into American science, rewriting the post-war order. These are not fringe footnotes. They are central to how we understand World War II and how we understand the modern world. We return to that Pacific dawn, the nervous submarine crew, the malfunctioning torpedo. That moment was a microcosm, a failure hidden beneath calm, a victory delayed, a human toll ignored. Victory did come. Europe was freed, Japan surrendered, the map was redrawn. History wrote the broad strokes. But behind the scenes, the story is more complex. The leveraged, the ignored, the compromised. What if we taught not only the battles, but also the hidden costs? The decisions made under panic, the alliances made under fear, the weapons pressed into service despite flaws. In looking back, we gain perspective. The extraordinary arises not only from heroism, but from failure, from cover-up, from the utilitarian calculus of emergency. The overlooked becomes the key. And for the viewer of this channel, this story matters because it invites us to go deeper, to color between the lines of the accepted narrative.